Sunday evening, I'm looking at the James Valley Community Center's, what's going to be for lunch tomorrow? Ooh, no lunch. Ooh.
All right.
All right, let's call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Genslinger.
Here.
Jerza.
Here.
Larson.
Here.
Osterloo.
Here.
Benny. Schmitz. Sonny. Dosher.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Are we on TV today, too?
Yep.
Okay. The agenda has been provided in the packet of information. Are there any additions or corrections to that agenda?
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded that the agenda be approved as presented. Mark, your turn.
Genslinger.
Yep.
Jerza.
Yes.
Osterloo.
Yes.
Larson.
Yep.
Motion carried.
Next item on the agenda is a declaration of conflict of interest. Again, the agenda has been provided in the packet. Does anyone in this esteemed body have a conflict of anything that's on that agenda? Hearing none, let's move on to the minutes of the meeting of the 26th.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded that the minutes be approved as presented. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none. Mark, your turn.
Osterloo.
Yes.
Genslinger.
Yep.
Jerza.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, next item. The next meeting should be scheduled for the 24th of October. That would be 2 weeks from yesterday at 12 o'clock. Do I hear a move to approve the blankets?
Set the date. Second.
Moved and seconded that the blanket be approved for the 24th. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none. Your turn, Mark.
Genslinger.
Yep.
Jerza.
Yes.
Osterloo.
Yes.
Larson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, the next item on the agenda is a plan approval for the Creekside Veterinary Clinic at 1111 West Spruce Street. Creekside Veterinary Clinic is located at 1111 West Spruce, is proposing an addition onto their existing building. They are zoned highway business, and therefore we have to approve construction on that premises.
Yep, so if you look at your packet, you've got the GIS view of it, of your existing. They're adding on to the south side. They provided plans that show the size footprint of their addition to the south, with extra parking proposed on the south side of it, and on the east side some more. Their signage, they're keeping their existing sign on Spruce Street, adding another sign back on their property showing where the dog grooming's at. Shows their topical plan, grading, things like that. And also their utilities are provided in there. I don't see any concerns from planning and zoning, public works on it.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Since how planning and zoning and public works don't have any issues with what they're proposing?
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded that their plan be approved as presented. Discussion on the motion. Your turn, Mark.
Jerza.
Yes.
Osterloo.
Yes.
Genslinger.
Yes.
Larson.
Yep.
Motion carried.
Next item on the agenda, a plat of Lot 41 of the Islands, First Edition, a subdivision of the southeast border of Section 31, Township 103, 104 North, Range 60 west of the 5th parallel meridian, City of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota, as requested by Maui Farms. I think this coincides with what they're...
Yep, this follows their master plan out
Yep.
there. They have just a slight bit of floodplain on the eastern border, but it's down in the ditch, which they'd never be able to build there anyway due to setbacks.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
This is yours, I'll make the motion to approve.
All right.
Second.
Moved and seconded that the plan be approved as, the plat be approved as presented. Is there discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. Okay, Mark, it's your turn again.
Osterloo.
Yes.
Genslinger,
Yes.
Jurza,
Yes.
Larson.
Yep.
Motion carried.
All right, item number 9 on the agenda is a Lot 3 of Block 6 of Woodland Heights First Edition, a subdivision of Lot 3, Cranes Edition, in the southeast quarter of Section 34T 103 North, Range 60 West of the 5th parallel meridian, City of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota, as requested by Ethan Co-op Lumber.
Again, this is following their master plan that was approved. They're filling out pretty fast out there all of a sudden. They don't have any left.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded that the plat be approved as presented. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none. Your turn, Mark.
Genslinger,
Yes.
Jurza,
Yes.
Osterloo,
Yes.
Larson.
Yep.
Motion carried.
And for those of you in the audience perhaps are wondering why we are going through roll call, because one of our members is talking to us through the telephone. So that we're required to do roll call vote on all of those. So just in case you were wondering, you probably figured it out, but all right, the next item, a plat of West Plum Avenue, Poplar Drive, lots 13 through 26, Block 2, lots 1 through 7, Block 3, and lots 1 through 8, Block 6, MLC addition, a subdivision of Block 3, Lot 4B, Lot 4, Block 5, and Block 6 of Morning View addition to the City of Mitchell, Davidson County, South Dakota, as requested by Mueller Lumber.
You'll remember seeing this on September 12th. You approved the master plan for this area. LEPC will have to approve the road name of Poplar Drive. I've talked with them already. We meet tomorrow. I don't see any issues with them not agreeing to that road name there. We know that the drainage will have to be done in this area before they'll be able to start developing anything. Joe's seen drainage plans for that at all, which was part of your master plan that you already saw.
Yep. Any questions? Hearing none, now we are ready for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the plat be approved as presented. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. Mark?
Jurza,
Yes.
Osterloo,
Yes.
Genslinger,
Yes.
Larson.
Yep.
Motion carried.
All right, the next item on the agenda is a discussion of indoor hydroponic farms. And folks, if you would introduce yourself and talk to us about what's going on there, we would appreciate it.
Okay. My name is Craig Livingston. I'm with DGI. We have a video, if we could show that, to show you what our equipment does and how it looks, so you have some kind of a concept of what it is.
I have to get it in my email.
Oh, okay. I have it on my computer here if you can tie in.
Can you tell us why you're here while he's bringing that up?
Yeah. So basically, we're looking at leasing a building on
1117 Langdon.
1117 Langdon from CoreTrust Bank, and putting 7 pieces of our grow system in that building. We would then be growing hydroponically barley, grass, and we grow it in 6 days. So basically, we plant about 3/4 of an inch thick of seed of barley. We water it, and in 6 days, it's about 8 inches tall, and we harvest that. We then will be bagging that along with some other components and feeding it to horses. So it becomes horse feed. And this horse feed is going to be sold nationwide. This is not going to be a retail store. It would just strictly be a location where we grow and put this product into bags. And then we would ship it out of there to different stores, feed stores, TSCs, Runnings, that type of store. And it would be sold out of those types of stores. It is a high-end horse feed. It is very nutritious. It is kind of amazing with the hydroponic way of growing. Our enzymes and our nutrients and all of those things really assist a horse right down to the nutrition of whatever that horse eats. It basically changes everything that horse eats and makes that horse better in a lot of different ways. Even reduces the amount of manure the horse produces because the horse digests everything so much better, so there's less manure through the horse, about 20% less, in fact. So it's considerable in a lot of the stables and places that horses are. Yep. And we have a video if you'd like to see what the equipment looks like. And
HydroGreen Nutrition Technology. We provide unique, automated technologies to grow on-farm, commercial-scale quantities of nutritious livestock feed, anywhere on Earth, 365 days a year. In this video, you will learn more about our HydroGreen Grow System and how we are developing technology to feed a changing world. The HydroGreen Grow System is made to be easy. Feed can be grown on 8 independent levels. From the touchscreen, all operations start at the push of a button. At the start of a grow cycle, a simple automatic seeder spreads a bed of wheat or barley seeds onto each level. All growing functions like irrigation and lighting are automated. Over 6 days, the seeds will germinate and produce around 34,000 pounds, or about 15,400 kilograms, of live fresh green feed from all 8 levels. The automation and controlled environment give the seeds the perfect day, every day, while optimizing the use of resources. Compared to conventional crops, the HydroGreen Grow System will grow an equivalent dry matter using up to 95% less water without fertilizer or pesticides. The harvest happens at day 6, when the feed reaches peak nutritional values full of vitamins, antioxidants, and enzymes. During harvest, each level is unloaded into a feed sizer. The whole mat of lush green feed is cut at the perfect particle size to facilitate its mixing with the rest of the ingredients in the cow's ration. In just 6 days, the HydroGreen Grow System transforms a dense energy grain into a highly digestible, nutritious, and enzyme-rich feed ingredient. HydroGreen delivers the most consistent and reliable feed you can grow on a farm all year round. To experience the perfect environment to grow nutritious livestock feed on farm using the HydroGreen Grow System, connect with our customer experience team today at hydrogreenglobal.com.
So that gives you an idea of what we do. So it's steel equipment. We put a lot of water on it, seed and light, and that's really what we use. So we're not harmful to anything. We don't use anything that would cause any problems. We do use a lot of water, but the feed that we grow retains a lot of that water also. We do run a lot down the drain, but we're looking at doing recycling. We can recycle the water. The water, once it's gone across, basically is just running across some seed and coming off the table, but it does gain nutrients as it runs across that seed, so it becomes something that we may capture, and also we can sell that water. A lot of the people that buy our equipment would also feed that water to their livestock because of the nutrient value of it. We would be putting the equipment inside and bagging equipment inside. We don't feel that we'd be noisy or pollutant or any of those items to the neighborhood there. We would be bringing in seed and hay occasionally to mix with our product before we bagged it. Any questions?
So you bag this product wet
We do.
at a certain percent moisture? Is there fermentation? Is there order to that?
Well, we have things that we put into it that help the fermentation, so that, yeah, it does preserve itself in there. We have to feed that. Right now, we've kept that product for 6 months, and it's still good to feed, but we think that we can probably go at least a year.
But it doesn't ferment in the open air. It's put right in the bag. The fermentation takes place.
Right, as soon as it comes off the table, it's mixed and put in the bag.
So there probably ain't a whole lot of order, if any.
There is no odor, basically, yeah.
What about traffic? truck traffic and so on?
We will probably have a truck come in periodically, what do you think, once a week with a semi, with some of inputs to the process, and then a truckload go out. Yep. And a lot of it will go common carrier.
Daily? Or every 6 days, or?
We're going to harvest every day and bag every day, so potentially it could be as many as daily, but it, probably won't be because we'll be shipping to distribution centers. Yep, it's really hard to tell right now because we're just getting started in this new product.
So the reason this is in front of you right now is because we've never had this come in front of our board. It's not in our ordinance. So I was talking with Justin about it as to, would it fit under any permitted uses that we have in highway business? Because highway business, that's why it comes in front of the board. And we couldn't really put it all into one lump sum because you've got your light processing that it probably fits into, but that's the process of bagging and everything. It doesn't have the growing aspect of it. So when Justin and I were talking, we don't have agriculture activity listed in our ordinance either under highway business. That's under other locations. Even though ag happens out on West Havens, you've got agriculture happening out there. So him and I were talking, it fits kind of along the same line as growing medical cannabis. I mean, they're doing that, and that's permitted in highway business, transportation, warehousing, commercial, and industrial, and then it's a conditional use in central business. So we were trying to come up with maybe a definition to put into the ordinance for indoor agricultural activity and have that be a revision to the ordinance as a permitted use and then go about it that way. You can go about it putting something in the ordinance, or you can say it's a light similar under 10.4.4, which would just have to come in front of the board again to have it officially approved, since this is discussion only for it. Justin, did I leave anything out with that?
No, I think that covers it. Really, it's just finding the best way to get this slotted into our zoning ordinance, because we don't really have a way to specifically differentiate it at this point. Basically, as Mark said, right now, it appears that it falls most directly under that agricultural activity definition, which would not be a permitted or conditional use in this zoning district. And that's really just because the definition for agricultural activity doesn't differentiate between activity that's taking place outdoors versus indoors. So that's where the idea of coming up with another definition for indoor agricultural activity came from. Mark laid out the couple of other options there too, so.
Mr. Council Representative.
Are there a lot of places across the nation that do this?
We have it as far away as Japan and Italy. And South Dakota, we have some. We have equipment in Highmore, different places in South Dakota, Iowa, different Idaho, Utah,
The little bit that I read about or know about it is it's quite expensive to do this process, correct?
It is quite expensive. Like the one in Highmore, he put up a building that would hold 3 pieces of our equipment. His payback on that for 1 piece of equipment was 7 years, for 2 pieces of equipment was 3, and for 3 pieces of equipment it would have been a little over a year. So.
How much room in this property that you're looking at do you have for how many pieces of equipment?
The property is 150 by 100. Each piece of equipment would take 10-foot footprint, 10-foot wide by 70-foot long footprint.
So you have adequate space in the building you're looking at?
We do have adequate space. We would not need to add anything for building. Yep.
Anybody from the audience got any comments you'd like to make?
This question I have is why this location? Is there any other locations in town that would meet the ordinances?
We didn't know of any other locations. We went through a real estate agent, and So this location came up and fit the bill. We would be leasing it on a 3-year lease. CoreTrust does not want to sell the product. They want to use it for developing new industries in Mitchell. And they thought we fit into that criteria.
How many employees do you expect?
We would start with 8, and probably at the 3-year point, we'd be at about 20. Not all of them would be here, but for the company, yep.
Guys, tell us, what do you think would be the best thing? You're the experts at this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess,
Well, hey, this is Larry here.
Yeah.
Let me just make a couple comments. It's interesting that this comes up before the commission, because I'll tell you, 40 years ago, when I was doing my master's thesis in college, I did it on hydroponic growing of food hydroponically in cities, and what kind of architecture that generates. So it's just very coincidental that this comes up before the planning commission. I'll tell you, based on research I did 40 years ago, hydroponic growing of anything that you can grow hydroponically basically makes a lot of sense. I support this deal 100%. It just takes a long time for things to transform from traditional ways of doing things, but I think currently there are a lot of hydroponic operations in the United States, and the real advantage of it for the people who are actually growing things hydroponically is you eliminate almost all the weather aspects of damaging crops. You can just about eliminate all of them except for, I suppose, the South Dakota tornadoes. But anyway, it is expensive, and it's similar to solar energy. That's expensive, and sometimes the payback isn't very quick, and that's why a lot of people don't do it. But as things get more expensive in terms of food items, especially for human consumption, these hydroponic systems will probably pop up a lot more than what they are now. As energy gets to be more expensive in terms of transporting goods, you can start growing things a little closer to where they're being utilized or needed. And anyway, like I said, it's a controlled environment. You're controlling everything inside. You can grow things really fast, and you can grow high-dollar things if you like. It's interesting that they're going to be harvesting every day and growing horse feed, but if that's the product that makes the dollar, that's what it is. But like I said, I support it 100%. So if there's anything you guys may need from me down the road, just feel free, as far as the commission goes, just feel free to ask, and I can offer whatever insight I have on it. But anyway, that's basically my spiel today.
Thanks, Larry. Basically, if I hear you guys right, you're thinking that we could probably get by just adding a definition, is that?
that was my recommendation to Mark, is that we add a new definition for the indoor agricultural activity, and then you can go in and you can add that definition in as a permitted or conditional use wherever you see appropriate in, whatever district it might be. So it's kind of a two-step process, but, that I think is the cleanest way to address it. It's the most thorough, and I don't claim to be an expert here, but I think there is a trend in the industry to pursue these types of grow operations. So I think long-term, it's probably better for us to have a more precise way of handling these.
And for you guys, probably the quickest way, because you guys obviously want to get started here before too long, is that correct?
Correct, right away.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what do you think, guys?
Is there any merit of doing it as a conditional versus a permitted use? I mean, do we want granular control of this, or do we want to just let it go?
I think just let it go, because I think this is something up and coming, and I personally know some people that raise tomatoes that way. That was my first question to this gentleman a while back is, are you going to raise tomatoes and onions? Because that is happening in South Dakota and other communities right now.
And the way that I discussed it with Mark, if we were going to add that new definition, you know, we have the cannabis cultivation facilities that we previously provided zoning for, so we could have very easily used that as a base for where it would be permitted and where it would be conditional and not listed, so.
Council, that's, I guess, for you guys to decide and then tell us what you decided, but I sure don't think this is a bad idea.
I can't imagine the council being opposed to such a thing, and so.
This doesn't have to go to the council for them to, this board can say, we would like to add that to the ordinance and just have it go through this regular process. My only suggestion would be, if we're going to do it, decide if it's going to be permitted or conditional use. I would say permitted, and I would put it in highway business, TWC. I'd leave it out of industrial because anything can go in industrial except for pretty much education and dwelling. And if you want to put it in central business as a conditional use, that's where I'd use the conditional use.
Yeah. I don't see a problem with that myself.
Sounds right to me too.
Well, it just says discussion only, but, I mean, we'd have to wait another 2 weeks in order to do it. But can we get this faster and do it today?
I don't think we can. It's
I don't
on the
think we
agenda.
can
It's not
either.
on the agenda.
It has to be advertised
Yeah.
for, yeah.
So-
It's got to be advertised.
And with zoning matters, there's additional notice requirements that we have to comply with, so we'd have to start that process. It might actually be 2 meetings from now where it comes back, because you've got to have that lead time with getting the notice published and how far in advance of the meeting that has to be, so.
Building,
Now you know how quick it can go.
building department, what do you think?
Well, they probably have to do a review on it with the design first, because I think I have to look at the exemption limit on it, and it's change of use. And
Kinda
I don't
curious.
think it's on the exemption limit, if it's 15,000 square feet, the whole facility.
17 with the offices.
Kind of curious what you have to do to the HVAC systems. I'm assuming you have more humidity in the building now than you did before.
Yes, yep. So, yeah, we have, it's environmentally controlled. We keep the temperature at 68 to 70 and the humidity 68 to 70.
So you're going to have some research to do before this thing can happen too, is that correct?
We pretty much have all of that research done because we've done this before.
Okay.
Yep.
I'd like to see you fast track, but I don't know if we can.
Okay.
Anybody else got any comments here?
I'll just add that, you know, my comments are all generalized. You know, I'm not saying anything specific about this operation. It's just, you know, how it all ties into the ordinance. You know, based on the comments that we had here today, if we were to start that process, and ultimately, I don't remember what district this is, Mark, it's highway, right? So if you start the process for changing the ordinance, and you work your way through that, and that ordinance puts this new definition in place, it makes it a permitted use in highway business, then, you know, they don't have to come back and go through the conditional use process or anything after that. So, I mean, it's really about as streamlined as it can be to make a change of this nature.
And I think you're going to see more of this as time goes on. It's just something new that we have never walked through.
Mm-hmm.
So, any other further discussion here? And I think, Mark, you've got a pretty good idea and
Yeah, I'll draft an ordinance and get it published and then bring it back to you guys as soon as possible, meeting state requirements for publications.
Yep. Everybody okay with that? Sorry, that's best we can
No,
do right now.
we knew we had to come here and talk to you about it so that everybody knew what was going on. We didn't just want to move in and find out that we couldn't do it.
And you meet monthly?
We meet every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, oh, okay.
But there's, the biggest problem for us is the publication dates.
Right.
Once you get, it's got to be public notice and all of that
Sure.
kind of stuff. So, we have something coming back to us next week, the next time we meet, that somebody had to change the date on us. So we got to go through that whole process again. So it happens, but we'll do what we can. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Yep.
We appreciate
Everybody
it.
happy with that?
Appreciate it.
Well, and Jay, we don't meet 2 weeks from today, we meet 2 weeks from yesterday,
Okay.
every other Monday.
Well, no, because every other Monday we put it the 31st.
24th.
Yeah,
Where's the second?
yeah,
24th, is that right?
yeah, we meet the 24th, but this one won't be on that one because of publication.
Okay,
Okay,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Anybody else have anything to come before this body at this time? If not, it's time for public input. If you need to address the City Planning Commission on an item that was not on the agenda, excluding personnel, please come forward to the podium and state your name and your concern. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes. Items will be considered, but no action will be taken at this time. And we don't see anybody coming to the audience, to the podium, so we are adjourned.